We're not even a week into training camp yet, and we're already seeing Cardinals clips of Marvin Harrison not being able to catch the football. And the 49ers are so injury prone already, and they have so many things going on with Ricky Pearsall and stuff that they had to bring Deebo Samuel back. This is going to be a tough year for this division. All right, yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy, the Football Falcon, also known as Shane, back with the third installment of this series. We are predicting every record for the NFL, and today we are doing the NFC West. The last video was the NFC North, and then before that we did the NFC South. If you guys haven't checked those yet, go make sure to watch them down below in the description. Today we got an interesting division, man. Obviously, the Seattle Seahawks, the team that won the Super Bowl last year, is who we'll be starting with. But this whole division just got a lot of interesting storylines with it, so this is going to be an interesting one to predict. Obviously, the Rams are a team that's made a lot of big moves in the offseason. Who knows where I have them at? And then obviously you got the 49ers and the Cardinals. So it's going to be fun to see, man. Let's get right into it. Here we go with the Seattle Seahawks. All right, starting out here, week 1, they get a Super Bowl rematch. This is going to be a very, very fun matchup. This is the opening game of the season. It's on a Wednesday, which I personally just hate. I don't know why we're doing NFL games on Wednesdays, but that's for another day. But the Super Bowl rematch here at home at Lumen Field playing against New England Patriots. This is going to be a super exciting game. Obviously, the Patriots made some good additions, so hopefully it's a little more competitive than what the Super Bowl was. But ultimately, I'm going to take the Seahawks to win this game. I just think they're still just a better coach team, and they have more talent. Even though the Patriots added A.J. Brown, I've talked about him the last couple of videos, but I think the Patriots are going to start the season off with a loss here, and Seattle's going to get to 1-0 to start the year. Week 2, they travel to Arizona to play the Cardinals. I don't think this one's controversial at all. I am going to take the Seahawks to win this one. I talked about how the Jets are a year away from being a year away. Man, it seems like the Cardinals just can't get out of their own way. Jacoby Brissett is holding out for this team. Well, he's now signed back now, but that was a whole debacle. They drafted Carson Beck in the 3rd round, which didn't really make a lot of sense to me. So they got a lot of work to do, but excited to see Jeremiah Love and what he can do in his rookie season. They also got my boy Tyler Algier over there as a Falcon fan. But I'm going to take Seattle to win this game. Week 3, they travel to Washington to play the Commanders. These two teams actually went against each other last year, and Jane Daniels suffered a pretty bad injury in that game. I like Washington this year. I think they're going to be an interesting team with David Blau as their offensive coordinator. I think they were held back a lot last year with Cliff Kingsbury, and that's kind of been the trend with him as he gets figured out a couple of years into the whatever system he goes into. But he was really good the first year in Washington. Second year just couldn't really get stuff going. Give me the Commanders here in an upset. I don't really have a lot of, rationale or reason for this one, but, I feel like Seattle has a couple of those games a year where they just, drop a random game like that, and I feel like this is going to be one of those games. So I got the Commanders in that one. Next week, the week after that, they go back home and they play the Chargers. This is a tough game as well, but I'm going to take the Seahawks here. I think they're going to give Justin Herbert a lot of problems as a defense. Man, I'm so excited to see this defense this year because they can beat you in so many different ways. They can beat you with blitzes. They use Devin Witherspoon a lot as a blitzing nickelback. It's really, really fun to see what they do with him. And Nika Manwari was someone I was really high coming out of the draft. So I just love their secondary. Really, really fun group. But that being said, I got them beating the Chargers here in Week 4. Week 5, they host the Niners. And the Niners are a team that also gave them issues last year. They almost swept them. I am going to take the Niners in this one. I think the Niners are a team that just has always had the Seahawks number under Kyle Shanahan and stuff. But obviously, I think the Niners' biggest question mark, which we'll get to them later, is, man, can this team stay healthy? Because they've already had a lot of people getting banged up just in this short training camp period. So I'm going to take the Niners here in this one, though. Week 6, they travel to Denver on a short week. And, man, this is actually kind of a tough stretch right here, just looking at it. They got the Chargers at home. Then they got the Niners at home, which is nice. Then they travel to Denver, and then they got Kansas City and Chicago, which is really tough. But I think the Broncos are a good team, but I think Seattle's just a little bit better right now. I like Sean Payton as a play caller, so it might be a game that, could be close and come down to the wire, but ultimately I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one. And in Week 7, we got the Kenneth Walker revenge game against the Seahawks in Seattle. Ultimately, I will take the Chiefs in this game, and I know we haven't gotten to the Chiefs yet, but, man, this is one of the least talked about teams, I feel like, with Mahomes coming back from the ACL. Like, they were just kind of swept under the rug. They went 6-11 last year, but man, I feel like people are going to, start to get back on the Chiefs coming up because I'm like, why are people sleeping on this team? They still got Andy Reid, Mahomes, and Kelsey, and Rice, and now they have Kenneth Walker, and they still got Spags there, but I feel like they're just a team that's really under the radar, even though they are a good team. Makes no sense, but I got them beating the Bears Week 8. Week 9, they are going to sweep the Cardinals. I hate to break it to you, Cardinals fans, but it's going to be a long season for y'all. I'm pretty sure y'all are aware of that. But I'm going to take the Seahawks here. It's funny. I just saw that it just draws in like a random score. It hasn't beaten them 47-16. Funny enough, I could probably see that being the score, but I'm going to take the Cardinals in that one pretty easily. Week 10, they go to Vegas to play Fernando Mendoza or Kirk Cousins and the Raiders. I'm going to take the Seahawks in that one. They're going to get hot here before the bye week. And I think it's going to be a fun matchup, though. I think the Raiders have a good young offense, kind of like the Cardinals, but they actually have a quarterback that they invested in with Fernando Mendoza with the number 1 pick in this year's draft. So it's going to be fun to see how that works out as they head towards the bye in Week 11. We've done a lot of teams with Week 11 byes, I've noticed, but coming off the bye, they go to San Francisco, and I do think ultimately they are going to get back on track here and get a big win here against the Niners. I know the Niners have had their number and have given them issues, but I think the Seahawks are going to really bounce back here in Week 12 and get a win against them this time around. And then Week 13, they got the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys, man, I mean, this offense has the potential to be one of the best in the league. I'm actually going to take the Cowboys in this one. It's a Monday night game on the road. The only reason I'm going to go with Dallas here is I think the Cowboys are going to find a way to score enough points on this team. And I don't trust Seattle's offense as much as last year's because obviously losing Clint Kubiak's a huge loss. Obviously him going to the Raiders, which I didn't even mention in Week 10. That's actually kind of a Clint Kubiak revenge game almost. But it's going to be fun to see how that turns out. But I just think Dallas's offense is going to score more points than Seattle's that day and maybe give Mike McDonald some issues. So we'll see. Heading into Week 14, they got the New York Giants. The Giants are an interesting team. I do like what they have, but ultimately I'm going to take the Seahawks in this one. I think the Giants with Harbaugh, I think I mentioned it when I had them in a matchup, I think in last video, is they have like a high floor but a lower ceiling probably heading into this year. But Jackson Dart's the biggest question mark. We'll see how he does in year 2, and if he can stay healthy, they might be decent. But ultimately, I'm going to take the Seahawks in this game. Then they got the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 15. It's going to be interesting, but I am going to take... This is a coin flip game because I feel like Jalen Hurts has good games, and, the Eagles' offense is just very hard to predict. Man, I like Seattle's defense matchup-wise a little bit more against the Eagles, so give me the Seahawks in this one. I think it could go either way, though. But, man, the matchups I'm really looking forward to are these 2 Rams-Seahawks games, and these are going to be the 2 biggest games of the year. And I think the NFL scheduled this on purpose to put them like back-to-back. I'm going to take the Seahawks in the first one. It's on a Friday on Christmas. Both teams get, 6 days to prepare for this game. And I like Sean McVay, and I like what they do, obviously. But I want to take the Seahawks in this one. And it is in Seattle, which is a tough place to play. But, man, these 2 teams are going to go at it for the division this year. I'm super excited to see that. And in Week 18, I do think they ultimately will split. I think the Rams... got swept by them last year. No, the Rams did beat them once in SoFi. So I'm going to take the Rams. I think it's going to be an even split in this game. And who knows, they might play again in the playoffs. So that's going to end me off with the Seattle Seahawks. I got them going 12-5 this year. I think that's the highest record we've done so far. So 12-5 for the Seahawks. I think that's pretty respectable coming off a Super Bowl season. I think they're going to still continue to be a really good team and possibly make another deep playoff run. So we'll see how that goes. And up next, we got the LA Rams, so let's get right into it. Alrighty, y'all, up next, we got the Los Angeles Rams. And before we get to the predictions, I just had to take a look at this roster because genuinely, this is just not fair. They still have Devontae Adams. They got Puka Nacua. Maybe tight end's a little bit of a question mark, but they spent a second-round pick on Max Clare and Terrence Ferguson the last 2 years. But look at this defense. This is not fair. Trey McDuffie, who is an all-pro corner, Quentin Lake's a Pro Bowl safety, Cam Curl, Cam Kitchens, who's underrated, Jalen Watson, who they signed. I mean, Myles Garrett. I mean, what? How did the NFL let this happen? I just don't get how this is possible, but obviously they traded Jared Verse in that trade, but man, I just had to look at this team. This defense is so stacked, but let's get into the predictions here. They got the San Francisco 49ers on a Friday in Australia, of all places. Very interesting game. I don't know who to take in this one. I think this is a coin flip game. Both teams honestly give each other problems, but I'm going to take the Niners here to open the season with the win. I think the Niners are going to be kind of similar to what I said about the Vikings. They're going to start the season really good, but if this team can't stay healthy, they're going to lose games down the stretch, so we'll see how that goes for them. Week 2, they host the Giants, and I think they are going to bounce back on a Monday night. They get a little long break to play the Giants, so I do like that for the Rams. I'm going to take them in that game. Week 3, they go to Denver. Another tough matchup, man. I think this is a really tough start to the schedule for the Rams. I mean, look at this. San Francisco. The Giants aren't easy. go to Denver, go to Philly, Buffalo. I mean, that is a brutal start. But it does ease up a little bit as we get farther into the season here. But I'm going to take the Rams to beat the Broncos in Denver. I think the Broncos are a team that, I know they almost made it to the Super Bowl last year, and they should have if Bo Nix was healthy. But, I think Bo Nix's floor is really solid. But I just don't know what his ceiling is right now as an NFL quarterback. I know a lot of people talk about how Sean Payton kind of makes him look good. But, that's also another discussion for another day. But it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. I'm going to take the Rams in that one. And then the Rams got to go to Philly to play the Eagles. The last time these two teams played last year was a really good game. Came down to a last-second field goal. This one's tough, man. I like what both teams offer. This is a tough one. This is really a coin flip game. These two games really are, but I'm going to say the Rams go 1-1 in a stretch. I'm going to have them beating the Eagles in Philly, but losing to the Bills at home. It's a Monday night, too, so it's going to be a tough matchup here, but I'm going to take the Rams to go to Philly and win, get some revenge from last year. And then, obviously, the Bills coming to L.A. I mean, that's another tough matchup. Josh Allen and those guys are going to give them problems. I'm going to take the Bills. Also, by the way, I did not even mention the Rams' biggest question mark this year, but as a roster, I think their biggest weakness is probably their cornerbacks, probably, even though they got some solid names in here. Obviously, acquiring Trent McDuffie was a huge addition, but they got Jalen Watson. Emmanuel Forbes is still a solid player. But, if their corners, don't get beat like a lot, I think they're going to be a really good defense. Obviously, their front seven's good enough to really give any offensive line problems, so we'll see how that goes here. But we got the Rams playing the Cardinals week 6. I'm going to take the Rams pretty easily here. Oh my God, 48-10 is diabolical, but I do think the Rams are going to win this one pretty easily here. It's just kind of not really much analysis needed here, man. The Rams are just a much better football team here. Week 7, they do go to Vegas to play the Raiders. And I'm going to be honest, man, I think the Raiders are going to be a little sneaky this year. I'm not saying they're going to be like, a playoff team or anything, but there's going to be some games where, they're going to give teams issues, but I ultimately am going to take the Rams to squeeze this one out. I think it's going to be a good game, a close game, but I just think the Rams are the better team right now. But look out for the Raiders, man. I think they're going to have a couple sneaky wins this year. They do got the Chargers coming off of a bye, and I am actually going to take the Chargers in this one, a little bit of an upset. Obviously, getting Mike McDaniel as the OC for LA is a big, big addition. I was just never the biggest Greg Roman guy, and the way he uses certain guys in their personnel packages just wasn't, the greatest. So I think Mike McDaniel, if there's anything you can give him credit for, he knows how to get the most out of his players on the offensive side of the ball, especially a guy like Devon Achane. Tyreek Hill was used very well when he was there. Jalen Waddle, obviously, and even had good use with the tight ends, too, with Jonnu Smith and obviously Darren Waller. So I do like the Mike McDaniel edition, one of the sneakier additions, I would say, for OCs in the league. But give me the Chargers in that one. The Rams do go to Washington the week after that in week 9. We're right at the middle of the season. I'm going to take the Rams in that one. I do like Washington this year. I think they're going to be a decent team. We'll probably do the NFC East in the next video, but ultimately, I just think the Rams, once again, are just the better team, and I'm going to have them sweeping the Cardinals as well here in Week 10. And another Week 11 bye. Man, Week 11 is going to be boring because my Falcons are on bye, the Packers are on bye, the Rams, and the Seahawks. So it's like Week 11 is going to suck. Week 12, I got them losing to the Packers. And then Week 13, they got the Chiefs on Thursday night. Man, this is going to be a fun game. I'm glad they put this one on primetime because the 54-51 game, man, that was so fun to watch. But I'm going to take the Chiefs here, man. I love Andy Reid. I do like Sean McVay a lot, too. These are two great play callers, but this is football at its finest. Two great play callers that are going to really, really make it tough on each other to really just make them earn every yard. Ultimately, who do I trust more between Mahomes and Andy Reid and Stafford and McVay? Give me just that slight edge to Mahomes and Andy Reid. I think they could dial up a really good game plan against a good Rams defense, so I'm going to take the Chiefs in that one. Week 14, they go to San Francisco. Coming off a little mini bye, I am going to take the Rams in that one to bounce back and get the win there. And then Week 15, they play the Dallas Cowboys, which would be my last game to predict for them. The Cowboys are coming off a mini bye, it looks like, but I am going to take the Rams in that game as well. So I got the Rams sitting at 11-6 this year. Obviously, would that be a little disappointing considering all the hype they've gotten? I would say probably, but nonetheless, I still think that's a really good record for them. I think they definitely have the potential to be as good, if not better than this. I would say they probably have the highest ceiling of any team in the NFL, other than maybe, I don't know, it's so hard to say, but, I mean, this is a team that could easily win 13, 14 games. But I just think they're going to drop a couple this year that people don't expect. I feel like the Rams kind of do that every year. They lost to my Falcons last year even, so got the Rams at 11-6. Let me know what you guys think about that. But up next, we got the San Francisco 49ers. So let's get right into it. All right, y'all, we are here on the San Francisco 49ers, and I mentioned it in the intro, man. This team had so many injuries last year. I mean, it was absolutely brutal that this team just could not stay healthy. Because I think their upside was really high, and they could have been even better than they were. George Kittle tearing his Achilles. He's coming off an Achilles now. Jordan James just got hurt, I'm pretty sure. He's got like a rib injury or something. Ricky Pearsall, they're saying he might be sidelined for the year, which is crazy. Christian Kirk suffered an injury. So we're already down to Mike Evans, Dazon Stribling, who's a second-round rookie out of Ole Miss, that a lot of people considered overdrafted, but he's getting some hype, so hopefully he can turn out all right. And this team also just brought back Deebo Samuel as of recording this video. It was just about an hour or two ago, so obviously they're a little concerned about the receiver room, considering they had to add back a familiar face here. Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowing, Malik Turner, Colton Dowell, just kind of depth pieces at that point. And then defensively, you got Nick Bosa coming off the ACL, Fred Warner coming off, I think, an ACL or something. Correct me if I'm wrong there. And then you got a lot of young guys just coming off injuries. Malik Mustafa, Jair Brown, Alfred Collins. They did trade for Osa Odigizua, and they traded away, I'm pretty sure, D. Winters to Dallas. So lost a linebacker there, but nothing super notable. But yeah, the biggest question for this team is health. I don't think that's anything controversial to say at all. And I think the most important guy that's got to stay healthy is Christian McCaffrey. If he can't stay healthy, then I don't know what to say. But I'm going to throw out a little take here, man. Even if McCaffrey does stay healthy, I think he's going to be kind of disappointing this year, because even last year, if we're looking at it, 3.9 yards a carry on the ground. The only reason he was really super relevant is because he just got fed the ball. Multitasking sure is tough, isn't it? Because we got a little ad playing, but he got fed the ball. I mean, he had 311 carries and 102 catches. That's 413 attempts last year. So they were just like, yeah, we're going to run the offense to this guy. So I think he's going to have a disappointing year, but, like I said, I could be way wrong on that. We'll see. But, I'm very curious to see how that goes. But let's get into the predictions here. They obviously beat the Rams in week 1, which is a big victory. I might have them beat the Dolphins and Cardinals, two teams that are just going to be picking the top 5 probably this year. So honestly, a nice start for them. And then week 4, they got the Broncos at home. I am going to take the Broncos in this one. I feel like the Broncos are just a team that's going to have those wins this year that are going to be very nice, hard-earned wins. And I think this is going to be one of those defensive games. The Broncos' defense has slept on. They're probably going to get brought pretty some issues. Week 6, they got the Washington Commanders. Definitely think this one's going to be interesting. I think Jane Daniels is going to give them some issues, man. I'm going to take the Niners in this one. I mean, the Commanders. It's a Monday night game. I know it's on the road in San Fran, but I don't know. I just like the Commanders a little bit more in that one. We actually have a team without a Week 11 bye. They are going to lose the Falcons going into the bye. But I think they're going to bounce back here and knock off the Raiders in Week 9. Like I said, at this point in the season, the Raiders might be turning to Mendoza, so might not be ideal for him early in his starts to see how he does, but we'll see. And then they got to go to Dallas in Week 10. I do think they are going to win this game. For whatever reason, man, Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers have had the Cowboys' number, whether it be the playoffs or the regular season. So I'm going to take the Niners in that one. Week 11, they go to Mexico to play the Vikings. And then they got the Seahawks in Week 12, which is nice. And then the 49ers go to the Giants in Week 13. I am going to take the Giants in this one. This is just one of those games I think they could upset here. So we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I think the Niners are going to start out really hot and kind of fall off towards the end of the year. I got them losing to the Rams in Week 14. Week 15 here, we got a Thursday night game, short week. I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. I think the Chargers are a team that a lot of people are sleeping on here. So going to be interesting to see how that goes. And then Week 16, I mean, this is a tough end of the season as well. They got to go to Kansas City. I mean, I'm taking the Chiefs in that game. I just think they're the better team right now. I know the Niners have a lot of talent on this team, but like I said, man, I think it's hard to count on this team to stay healthy throughout an entire season, regardless. I know it's crazy, and, you got the whole facility stuff they got going on. It's just so hard to predict, but if I had to predict what's going to happen for the Niners, I think they're going to start the season out strong or solid and kind of taper off at the end as they suffer injuries and stuff. I'm kind of throwing that in part of my predictions. I know I'm not supposed to, or that's not, something a lot of people do, but with this kind of team, it's unique because it's just so hard to predict, and, it's just been the trend for this team. I am going to take the Eagles in Week 17, and I'll have them beat the Cardinals in Week 18 here. So I got the Niners finishing at 8-9, just missing the playoffs. So probably a disappointing season. I just think they just got a lot of older veterans, and they kind of need to retool and get some younger guys in the building, especially at running back and receiver. So, if Ricky Pearsall can stay healthy, maybe they'll be all right, but they have obviously got a lot of question marks, and Trent Williams isn't getting any younger either. So I got the 49ers going 8-9. You guys let me know if I'm absolutely crazy for that. I could see this team win 11, 12 games if they're healthy. I will say that. So if I do look completely wrong looking back, I think that's why that's going to be the reason. So we'll get into that in a couple months. We'll revisit these and see how I did. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the Arizona Cardinals here, who will be my last team for this video. And yeah, let's get into it. All right, here we are. It's the Arizona Cardinals. I don't even want to click on this team, man. This is going to be a long year for this team. I feel bad for the fans, I'm going to be honest. And I didn't even realize I got them at 0-8 to start the year. I mean, this is rough. I mean, the only thing this team's got going for them right now is their offensive weaponry. They got Jeremiah Love, who they took with the 3rd pick. Marvin Harrison Jr., to me, is the biggest question mark this team has by far. Honestly, that's probably the biggest question mark for this team heading into the year is Marvin Harrison Jr. worth the 4th overall pick? Is he a good NFL receiver? Because there's been glimpses. You know, they spent the 4th overall pick on him just a couple of years ago. He had some good flashes as a rookie, and then last year he battled injuries. He came back and looked okay, but he's yet to eclipse 900 yards, and this is a guy that was deemed a generational prospect. So that's a big question mark. I mean, Michael Wilson, as of right now, to me, is the team's best receiver. Trey McBride, obviously, you know what you're getting there. He's the best tight end in the NFL as of right now. He's got that crown, but I think the biggest question mark with this team is Marvin Harrison Jr. worth the 4th overall pick? Is he a franchise receiver? That's the biggest question for this team. I think anything else, what you get is house money. I think they got good pieces. Walter Nolan, obviously, can he stay healthy? First round pick out of Ole Miss last year. Man, he looked really good as a rookie. I'm super excited for him, but is Josh Sweat going to get traded, mid-season? We'll see, but I like Will Johnson and Budda Baker and those guys. They got pieces, but man, the quarterback room obviously is not great with Jacoby Brissett, who held out from this team. Your team's bad when you have Jacoby Brissett holding out for you. But obviously they got that worked out, so it's good to see him back. And then you got Carson Beck, who they drafted in the 3rd round out of Georgia. And I watched a decent amount of Carson Beck, and I just don't see it with him, man. I see him as maybe a career backup. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But let's get right into it with this Cardinals team. They go on the road to play the Chargers. I'm going to take the Chargers in this game. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be pretty quick with this team. I do think the Cardinals are going to squeeze out a couple wins this year. Spoiler alert, but it's just kind of how I see this team. Just not a good team. But they go to New York to play the Giants week 4. I am going to take the Giants in this one. I think the Giants have, at least a foundation going for them. I think the Cardinals just kind of need to see what they have and the players they do have this year. It's kind of an evaluation year at this point for them. But I am going to take the Giants in that game. I got them losing to the Lions and the Rams. Week 7, they got the Broncos. They are at home, which is nice, but this is a tough one. I'm going to take the Broncos. And I think at this point in the season, they're probably going to have, a benching. Jacoby Brissett's probably going to get benched around week 7 maybe, or maybe he does play well. We'll see, but I do think they're going to get their first win of the season against the Dallas Cowboys in week 8. I think they are going to, scratch and claw to get a win or two this year, and this is going to be one of those games. I just think Dallas's defense is one of those, units that kind of struggles to, keep teams off the field or get off the field as a team on 3rd downs. Obviously, they made a couple of nice additions, but I think the Cardinals have a chance to upset the Cowboys, so I'll give the Cardinals that one. Do got them losing to Seattle and then the Rams. And then they got to go to Kansas City week 11. I mean, this team has the hardest schedule in football. I'm going to be honest with you, man. It's not great. Week 12, they host the Washington Commanders. I'm going to take the Commanders in that one. It's just Washington's a better team. I mean, that's just quite easily and simple as it is. Eagles got to go to Arizona in week 13. I think the Eagles are going to win that one as they go to the week 14 bye. I think this team's cooked at this point. I say for sure Carson Beck will come in at this point in the season. I do have them beating the Jets, though. Give me the Jets. I do like, I had them beating the Jets. Give me the Cardinals, my bad. But I do like the Cardinals' offensive weaponry. I think they're good enough to move the ball down the field. It's just, can they do it consistently week to week against good defenses? Because they're playing a lot of good ones this year. So, but I don't believe in the Jets' defense a ton this year, but we'll see. They're also a team that's really on the hot seat head coach wise. And then they got the Raiders week 17. I'm gonna be honest. I'm actually gonna give the Cardinals this one as well. Late in the season, they probably got rookie Fernando Mendoza in there, and they're kind of just, kind of an evaluation year to see what they got in him. So I think the Cardinals will squeeze out that one as well. But I got them losing to the Saints week 16 and then losing to the Niners week 18. But that'll do it for the Cardinals. I got them at 3-14. I don't think that's controversial at all. I mean, this team just absolutely reeks on paper. Them and the Dolphins both. I don't know who's going to have the worst record in the NFL between those two, but if it's not those two, I'd be kind of surprised. But you guys let me know, man. But to recap the NFC West here, we got the Seattle Seahawks winning the division at 12-5. I got the Rams at 11-6, kind of being, tiny bit disappointing, but still solid team. I got the 49ers at 8-9, probably missing the playoffs, and then the Arizona Cardinals at the bottom of the barrel, going 3-14, the worst team we've done so far. So make sure to let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Am I a little too low on the Rams? Am I way too low on the Niners? I think the Cardinals, I'm pretty sure everyone can agree with. And the Seattle at 12-5, I think is pretty reasonable as well. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Up next, we'll be doing the NFC East, so make sure to be on the lookout for that. And that's going to do it here today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like and make sure to subscribe. We got some more content coming soon. And it's your boy, the Football Falcon. I'm out. Peace.